CELA Frontline Staff Training Webinar. This CELA Frontline Staff Training webinar is intended to give a basic overview of CELA service for staff who might not be the primary CELA contact at your library, but who need to know the broad outlines of the program, who's eligible for the service, what's available to patrons with print disabilities and to public libraries as CELA members, how do patrons register for the service, how can you help promote CELA at your library and in your community, and where can you go for more information? If you're looking for a more detailed webinar, which goes into the specifics of how to request a DAISY deposit collection, how to use your interlibrary loan account, or how to register patrons for CELA, you can sign up for the CELA orientation webinar, which is 60 minutes long and goes into more detail on all these questions. Thanks for participating in the webinar, and thanks for all you do to support accessible library service in your community. What is the Center for Equitable Library Access? CELA is a national not-for-profit organization run by a board made up of representatives from public libraries across the country. CELA provides public libraries with accessible format collections for patrons with print disabilities and support for library staff who offer the CELA service in their community. CELA is funded by participating libraries, participating provincial governments, and the CNIB as one of the major producers of library materials in alternative or accessible formats. With the addition of the provinces of Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and the Yukon Territory, CELA currently serves 96% of the Canadian population. Why is providing access to the CELA collection to your patrons important? Library staff no doubt understand the importance of reading and the profound difference access to many different kinds of reading materials can have in a person's life. We know that reading can help with day-to-day things like writing a resume, but it can also transport you to other worlds and other times. It's estimated that only about 7 to 10% of all material published in print in Canada is available in accessible formats for people who don't read regular print. This is the main reason why broadening choices for this segment of the population is an important step in the right direction. Participating in CELA allows your library to increase the choices available to library users who don't read regular print. In addition to your library's already existing accessible format collection, which might include books in large print, commercially produced audio CDs, online audio, services like Overdrive, through your membership in CELA, you can provide access to physical formats such as audiobooks on DAISY CD, Braille, and print Braille books. Your membership in CELA also provides access for your print-disabled patrons to CELA's online library with access to books, newspapers, and magazines in audio, Braille, and electronic text format. Who benefits from CELA services? There are over 3 million Canadians with print disabilities that prevent them from reading conventional print. That's about 10% of the population. A print disability is generally described as a disability that makes it difficult or impossible to access standard text. Print disabilities include blindness or visual impairment, physical disabilities that make it hard to hold a book, or severe learning disabilities that make it difficult to process written text. The nature of the disability may vary, but the common thread for any person with a print disability is that he or she cannot access print in the way most people do. CELA offers them access to a wealth of reading materials in various formats right in their own community from public libraries like yours. Eligibility for CELA service. There is a section in the Canadian Copyright Act which allows non-profit organizations such as CELA to produce materials in accessible formats for people with perceptual or print disabilities. The clause in the Canadian Copyright Act refers to people who have learning, physical, or visual disabilities that make it difficult or impossible for them to read regular print. This clause refers to visual disabilities that may result in blindness or partial sight, to physical disabilities such as severe arthritis, cerebral palsy, MS, or any condition that affects fine motor skills, and to learning disabilities such as dyslexia, as well as to some forms of autism and brain injuries. People with temporary print disabilities may also access CELA service at your library while they are experiencing this temporary disability. For example, you might have a library customer waiting for cataract surgery who can't see well enough to read print while they are waiting for surgery, or someone who is undergoing regular chemotherapy treatments and isn't well or strong enough to read or manipulate print books during the period they are undergoing treatment, or a person who's had a stroke and is undergoing rehabilitation and perhaps temporarily unable either to see or to hold a regular print book. CELA does not require a proof of disability form or medical certificate. There is a section in the online registration form where the patron is asked to identify their print disability, that is, whether they have a learning, physical, or visual disability that prevents them from reading regular print. This is sufficient to give them access to CELA's collections and services. Meet your new patrons, recognizing library patrons with print disabilities. Someone who borrows heavily from your audiobook or large print collection, a person who has trouble holding or turning the pages of print books, someone who holds the books up very close to their face in order to read, a patron who mentions they've just undergone eye surgery or are waiting for surgery. It's important to pay attention to cues like this that may indicate the patron has a print disability and could benefit from having access to CELA's accessible format collection. It's also a good idea to have some CELA bookmarks at the reference or information desk. This way, library staff can hand these out to friends or relatives of a person with a print disability who might be visiting the library. Attention to details like this can pay off when you see how much having access to accessible formats can mean to individuals in your community. What does CELA offer your library? CELA offers member libraries flexible options for service delivery, including registration of patrons for direct service from CELA, home delivery and/or online access, DAISY deposit collections, books on audio CD, on long-term loan to your library, a browsable collection for your patrons when they visit the library. Interlibrary loans allows the library to borrow up to 2,000 items in any of CELA's accessible formats, books on DAISY CD, Braille, and print Braille books, for any patrons with print disabilities. Some libraries will deliver these items to the patron as part of their homebound service, or patrons can pick them up at the library. Support for community outreach and reading programs. Libraries can request multiple copies of book club books, community reads, or award-winning titles. Governor General, Canada Reads, kids programs such as the Ontario Library Association Forest of Reading, Hackmatack, etc. Training and accessibility expertise. CELA offers monthly training webinars like this one on a variety of topics. Most of these webinars are also available in recorded version on the CELA website for library staff who aren't able to attend webinars because of scheduling conflicts. CELA's collection and services are offered in French and English. Statistics for your library. Statistics are available on circulation and registration figures. What does CELA offer your patrons? Through CELA, you can offer your patrons their choice of formats, including audio, braille, and electronic text, a growing collection of over 700,000 items for all ages and interests. A broad selection of genres, similar to the selection in a mid-sized public library: fiction, nonfiction, poetry, children's, young adult, business, self-help, and more. Patrons receiving CELA service can also subscribe to CELA's Daisy magazines in audio or text and receive new issues automatically to their mobile device or internet-enabled Daisy player through our direct-to-player service. Direct-to-player makes downloading easy. CELA's magazine collection includes 150 full-text, accessible magazines from RB Digital, making popular magazines accessible and available as soon as they are published. Titles include Canadian Living, The Economist, Elle, 7 Jours, Popular Science, among many others. CELA continues to offer audio magazines on CD for those without internet access. These patrons can subscribe to 11 human-narrated audio magazines. Access to Bookshare titles via the CELA website. Bookshare is the world's largest online library of accessible reading materials. Bookshare makes arrangements with publishers to obtain new releases and back catalogs of their works. Bookshare books can be downloaded to a computer, mobile device such as a smartphone or tablet, or braille displays. Their catalog is rapidly expanding, and all CELA members have access to more than 600,000 books from Bookshare. Delivery options include download or home delivery. Easier ways to get audio books. Direct-to-player service allows patrons and libraries to transfer Daisy audiobooks directly onto a player or mobile device without having to wait for a CD in the mail. Some CELA member libraries are using the direct-to-player option with internet-enabled Daisy players. Once the library has an internet-enabled player available from vendors of Daisy players, the library can contact CELA Member Services and we will create a direct-to-player account for your library. This is a good option to assist your patrons who may not be comfortable using a computer or downloading their own audiobooks from the online library. Libraries can load up to 12 books on the player at one time. Patrons can also purchase their own player. They will need wireless access, but they won't need to download the books first onto a computer before transferring them to the player. The books transfer directly from the CELA website to the player. To return the books, all the patron has to do is push a button and the book is automatically removed from the player. There is also a free accessible app, Dolphin Easy Reader, that libraries can download onto a tablet or smartphone to demo CELA books to patrons. CELA libraries have access to the online library and can help patrons access books in a variety of ways. Libraries can use their CELA interlibrary loan account to download a DAISY zip file from the CELA library for a print-disabled patron who is not able to download the item themselves, but would like it in electronic format. It's possible to transfer it to their device, have them use it in the library, save it to a USB stick or SD card for them, save it onto one of the library's devices and loan it out that way, burn it to a disk for them. Downloading, combined with service options such as using direct-to-player, direct mailing of books on CD or in Braille, and registering patrons for individualized service, gives the library a multitude of convenient ways to serve your patrons with print disabilities. To download a book, simply log in to celalibrary.ca using your CELA ILL account and select the Get It link for the title and format your patron needs. We also have guides and tutorials on downloading and transferring books to various devices. Visit celalibrary.ca/help. Supporting access in your community. CELA offers programs such as educator access and client access support so that libraries like yours can do outreach to teachers and other professionals in the community who assist individuals with print disabilities to access the library service they want. Educator access. Free sign-up for teachers at the elementary, secondary, and post-secondary levels with a public library card from a CELA member library. Access to CELA's collections, online and physical formats, on behalf of their students with print disabilities. Access to Bookshare titles directly from celalibrary.ca on behalf of students with print disabilities. Client access support. Free sign-up for professionals other than teachers at public institutions who assist people with print disabilities to access library service with a valid public library card from a CELA member library. Recreational and rehabilitation therapists, private tutors, and personal support workers are examples of some of the professionals who are eligible to access this program. Access to CELA's physical format collection, including books on CD and Braille books, as well as access to CELA's online formats, such as downloadable DAISY audio or text, and electronic Braille files available at celalibrary.ca. As the supporting professional, they can access materials on behalf of someone with a print disability or assist them in learning to use the service independently. How can library patrons sign up? Registering eligible patrons couldn't be easier. CELA library staff can register patrons by filling out the online registration form. It's a good idea to know who at your library does CELA registrations. Sometimes it is centralized to one staff person or to one branch within larger systems. The form itself takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete. If the patron fills out the CELA self-registration form on their own, they need a valid public library card from your library in order to do this. What happens next? Once contact center staff receive the patron registration form, if the patron has indicated they want online service, we send them their account number and password by email. If the patron wants direct-to-player or DAISY CD service by mail, we send them 2 popular starter books, one fiction and one nonfiction title, and a DAISY audio magazine CD, and a welcome message, email or audio, explaining how to order more books online or how to connect with the contact center to tell staff about their book interests so that we can automatically send them new books regularly. Contact center staff will call all children and all Braille users to set up their service. How can your library get more involved with CELA and make the service a success? Aside from this frontline staff training webinar, CELA offers frequent online webinars that you can sign up for or watch recorded versions of on our website. How can your library help to promote CELA and get the word out to people in your community? There are many ways to do this. Your library can get free promotional materials in English and French to promote CELA generally, as well as flyers to promote the Educator Access Program with teachers and students, and the Client Access Support Program for professionals who work with people with print disabilities. Promote CELA's service on your library website and include a link to the CELA self-registration form for patrons who might want to register independently for the service. Doing outreach in the community is something most libraries have become experts at. Think about places where you're likely to meet people who could use the service: schools, colleges, universities, disability organizations, such as learning disability organizations, arthritis societies, senior centers. The next time you're organizing a book club for community members, think about advertising it as an accessible book club so that people who don't read print can also participate. If you choose titles that are available from CELA in accessible formats, your library can order multiple copies of each title to have on hand for people with print disabilities. To promote the fact that CELA services are available through your library, as well as to promote your library's other accessible services, commercial audiobook and large print collections, accessible computer workstations, etc., you might consider hosting events like an open house or a technology fair, inviting vendors of access technology, schools or colleges that have services for students with disabilities, the local CNIB office, other disability organizations. Subscribe to Open Book for Libraries, CELA's monthly e-newsletter for news about great books, accessible reading, and more. For more information, visit celalibrary.ca. If you're wondering how to direct questions from CELA library patrons who have already been registered for CELA service, You can let them know to get in touch with the contact center at their toll-free number or by email at help@celalibrary.ca. This could include things like questions about how to change the kinds of books they're getting, how to set up a new service like Direct to Player, or if they have any questions about the reading technology they're using. For CELA member library staff, you can contact the team at CELA Member Services with questions about your CELA service, to order free promotional materials, or for any kind of question relating to your CELA membership. Or phone or email us at members@celalibrary.ca. CELA Member Services staff are available from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But of course, you can also send an email or leave a voicemail message. In general, Member Services staff try to get back to libraries within 24 hours. Thanks for listening. This is the end of this webinar.